Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're here at 26 2nd Avenue, and you might notice things look a little different because they are painting the walls and finishing off lots of bits and pieces. So we're gonna do a quick reading here because we're not sure what time the workers might come in, and it's already 10 a.m. so they might show up in the middle. But yeah, they're getting ready for Rath Yatra, which is like 9th of June, I think. 8th of June. And also His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is coming into town, so we were discussing how it's like when Prabhupada would come, they'd paint everything and clean everything, and Prabhupada said...
Well, yeah, okay, I wasn't going to mention Maharaj, but yeah, I would say that's more the motive than Rath Yatra, because Maharaj gave them an instruction a year ago or so to do what they're doing now.
But yeah, so the point I was making was that, yeah, wherever Prabhupada would go, he'd always smell fresh paint. And he'd be, devotees would say, wherever we went, it always smelled like fresh paint. So it smells a bit like fresh paint in here today also. Okay, so I think we're starting a new chapter.
Canto 4, Chapter 18, Text 1, Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet.
Wow, Haribol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On the last one you have to go up. Didn't feel like it.
And by the way, I know it's not for all of you, but for us today is Shringa Chaturdashi. Haribo, Shringa Bhagavan Ki Jai.
Text 1. The great sage Maitreya continued to address Vidura. My dear Vidura, at that time, after the planet Earth finished her prayers, King Prithu was still not pacified and his lips trembled in great anger. Although the planet Earth was frightened, she made up her mind and began to speak as follows in order to convince the king. Text 2. My dear Lord, please pacify your anger completely and hear patiently whatever I submitted before you. Please turn your kind attention to this. I may be very poor, but a learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, just as a bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower. Text 3. To benefit all human society, not only in this age but in the next, the great seers and sages have prescribed various methods conducive to the prosperity of the people in general. Purport. Vedic civilization takes advantage of the perfect knowledge presented in the Vedas and presented by great sages and brahmanas for the benefit of human society. Vedic injunctions are known as Shruti, and the additional supplementary presentations of these principles as given by the great sages are known as Smriti. They follow the principles of Vedic instruction. Human society should take advantage of the instructions from both Shruti and Smriti. If one wants to advance in spiritual life, he must take these instructions and follow the principles. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one poses himself as advanced in spiritual life but does not refer to the Shrutis and Smritis, he is simply a disturbance in society. One should follow the principles laid down in Shrutis and Smritis, not only in one's spiritual life but in material life as well. As far as human society is concerned, it should follow the Manu Samhita as well.
Manu
Smriti as well. For these laws are given by Manu, the father of mankind.
Interesting.
Would you find interesting?
It's your turn to speak.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything stood out, that's why I asked you.
Okay. Well, I was just speaking with a devotee about doing yagyas and things like that, and because they're going to have a yagya today for Lord Nrsingadev, and the devotee who's doing it is quite well trained up and, I don't know, orthodox, but basically like that. And we were discussing how sometimes it can go to extremes that you follow everything so much that, you wind up doing a ceremony that should take like an hour, hour and a half. It takes like 6 hours, and everyone winds up being like exhausted and fried, and it kind of misses the point. So I just found it interesting that Prabhupada here is saying that one should follow the Manusmriti, because those laws are quite rigid and quite strict, and it might even appear that Srila Prabhupada kind of contravened some of those kind of ideas, and especially, not like contravened in a derogatory way, but that, in order to spread Krishna consciousness, some adjustments had to be made. And so it might be understood that Krishna consciousness and bhakti is kind of not driven by the rules and regulations of the Vedic scripture. But here you have two things that are spoken. One is that Rupa Goswami says that if one poses himself as advanced in spiritual life but does not refer to Shrutis and Smritis, he's simply a disturbance in society. So it means that one has to be, theoretically what's being said there is one has to be versed in the Shruti and the Smriti, which means either the Rig, Yajur or Samaveda, or in the Puranas. Which in one sense most people aren't. But it's interesting that Rupa Goswami would say that. And I guess I just wonder if that being said is in accordance with a sort of time, place, circumstance type of thing. Does that make sense? And then the Manusmriti thing. So those two things stood out to me to be almost possibly dogmatic type things that are coming from the Vedas, but bhakti isn't necessarily something that's coming from the Vedas, although we may cite and say it's Vedic. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah? Okay. So, mine. So the next paragraph. In the Manusmriti, it is stated that a woman should not be given independence. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. But should be given protection by her father, husband, and elderly sons. In all circumstances, a woman should remain dependent upon some guardian. Presently, women are given full independence like men, but actually we can see that such independent women are no happier than those women who are placed under guardians. If people follow the injunctions given by the great sages, Shrutis and Smritis, they can actually be happy in both this life and the next. Unfortunately, rascals are manufacturing so many ways and means to be happy. Everyone is inventing so many methods. Consequently, human society has lost the standard ways of life, both materially and spiritually, and as a result they are bewildered, and there is no peace or happiness in the world. Although they are trying to solve the problems of human society in the United Nations, they are still baffled, because they do not follow the liberated instructions of the Vedas. They are unhappy. Thoughts?
No.
Well, I just asked you because obviously the first part was talking about women.
That's got nothing to do with me, the spirit soul. No, in all seriousness, like, I remember one time someone got upset like that. Someone was not a devotee, and they were reading Bhagavad Gita. It was interesting, and then it was a family member, and they were saying, so what are your thoughts on that? Because they stopped reading. But it was interesting regarding women, like some comments in the Bhagavad Gita, and I thought about it because I was thinking, let me, obviously want to speak in a way that's appealing, but I just didn't feel anything. It just didn't affect me. And I thought, it's not because I'm dumb or like, it's a bit like when, and although I'm not saying I'm Bhaktivedanta Swami, but when Bhaktivedanta Swami was, some people were being racist to him, and he went to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada's response was, well, if you're getting upset by it, then
You're no better than them.
because you're also on that platform,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
When you read on the first sentence, women should whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me, and I kind of, if anything, agree. Given because that's how I was brought up. In my family, the father is the shelter, and he was definitely, and so that's the mood you're brought up, and then the same way sons, there's a lot of pressure on them, which can be derogatory for them, detrimental, I should say, but there is to be those natural protectors. In my upbringing, in my family circle, big extend, not just my immediate but extended, boys are put on that level. It is like that, and your spouse and that, yeah. I can totally relate to, and I've got no problem with it. In fact, I think a lot of problems in life would be solved, not to be controversial, but if people adhered to this mentality of, dare I say it, taking shelter of a man.
Yeah!
But then the problem is men are not
always
worth taking shelter of. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. I'll be the first one in the line. But interesting. So it's good to hear that perspective. That was it.
Final paragraph. Two significant words used in this verse are ashmin and asmun.
Amusement.
Asmin means in this life, and amusmin means in the next life.
At least we got it laughing.
Unfortunately, in this age, even exalted professors and learned men believe that there is no next life and that everything is finished in this life. Since they are rascals and fools, what advice can they give? Still, they are passing as learned scholars and professors. In this verse, the word mushmin is very explicit. It is the duty of everyone to mould his life in such a way that he will have a profitable next life. Just as the boy is educated in order to become happy later, one should be educated in this life in order to attain an eternal and prosperous life after death. It is therefore essential that people follow what is given in the Shrutis and Smritis to make sure that the human mission is successful. It's interesting as you get older and you see people around you, parents and whatnot, get older, then you can relate more to what Prabhupada's saying, It's interesting about the futility of life and making it, and also doing the right thing that will then set you up in the next life, and what is the point of this life and why are we here, and all that actually becomes very real and relatable as one matures, or is in one's twilight years.
Which means is as you get old, when you get old, and it makes sense. So we shouldn't. But it made sense for me when I was younger. It made sense for you when you were younger also. But it makes more sense. It becomes more deeper realization.
Yeah.
You were going to say something else?
No.
Did I interrupt you?
No.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So maybe stop there.
That's not
I don't know. I think we'll call it a day. And hope you've enjoyed this session of Bhagavatam Bites with Giggly Bob and Straight Up Jai. And Prabhupada. You can see there's a little picture there. You might not be able to see it so well, but there's a small picture of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj there, who departed this world probably a little over a week ago.
It was put there when the day he passed away.
Yeah, very intense. Such a powerhouse in service of Srila Prabhupada. And
yeah.
Yeah, stalwart leader, opened up so many places in India, so many things, made so many things happen. Yeah, just exceptional person.
Yeah, there was one video just when after he passed away, someone must have filmed him when he was sleeping, and his arm was going like that because he always offered Manga Arati, you know.
Yeah, wherever he went.
And yeah, they were like, "What's happening?" He was going through the motions of in his sleep of offering Arati. He's doing like that and like that. Yeah, they filmed him.
Krishna. Nice.
So for sure he's now in the eternal spiritual sky, worshipping Radha and Krishna.
Haribo.
For sure.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, thanks everyone. Hare Krishna. Have an amazing day. Remember to like,
Subscribe,
share.
comment.
Hare Hare.